Hi, this is Matt Casamassina. I'm editor-in-chief of GameCube, and today you're watching our video review of Mario Superstar Baseball. Now, Mario Superstar Baseball is a game developed by Namco and Nintendo jointly, and it sort of falls in the line of the Camelot sports games. So if you've ever played Mario Tennis or Mario Golf, you sort of have a similar idea of what to expect here. What this ultimately means is a fast-paced arcade-style baseball game, but it's a little bit short on depth. In place of all those options, you get Nintendo style, you get speed, and you pretty much get a pick-up-and-play experience. Now, anybody who imports games probably has an idea of what to expect as well, because Namco developed the famous Famicom baseball games out of Japan, and Mario Baseball here kind of plays like those, except with Nintendo characters thrown in. Namco, very much like Camelot actually with Mario Tennis, has provided a really cool and really well-crafted opening cutscene, and it's full motion animation, CG. It just looks great, and it sort of introduces you to all the mascots in the game and plays upon their characters. The game definitely makes a great first impression, but as you progress through it and you get into the challenge mode, you'll notice that the presentation doesn't quite hold up. Mainly because you're treated to another cutscene. This time it's a compressed video, and it just doesn't look as good. Now, you're probably going to be buying Mario Superstar Baseball for a couple reasons. One, you want a quick pick-up-and-play baseball experience, and two, you love Nintendo. And if it's just for these reasons that you're after the game, you're probably gonna love it. On the other hand, if you're expecting a really deep experience, you're in for a disappointment, let's be honest. The game just doesn't have the options, it doesn't have all the features or the modes that some of the, say, EA baseball games on the market do have. So the game does feature several gameplay modes, and let's go through them. The first is Exhibition Mode, which is your standard baseball game. You pick a friend and you two go at it after you choose a stadium and your teams. Secondly, you've got Challenge Mode, which is basically the meat and potatoes of the game. And that's where you're going to be spending the bulk of your time if you're into the single-player experience. And let me tell you why. Challenge Mode is kind of a tip of the hat to the Camelot-created Mario Golf Advanced Tour in that it combines a sporting experience with an RPG-like element. So as Challenge Mode begins, you're thrown onto this world map, which kind of looks like something out of the Mushroom Kingdom. It's very Mario Party-esque. Except you're not rolling dice to move around, you're actually in full control. And you can move about this map and you can visit different stadiums, like Peach's Stadium, Yoshi's Stadium, whatever. And you can compete with these mascots. And here's the advantage of doing that. If you win, various characters from their teams will defect and join your team. Now, I should note, when you begin Challenge Mode, you've got a really crappy selection of third-tier Nintendo mascots. Now, the goal of Challenge Mode is actually pretty simplistic. The idea is just to get to Bowser's castle and face off with him. And if you beat him, you gain his characters and you win the cup. This is where you can see that it's actually pretty shallow, because the whole affair lasts maybe, half an hour, 45 minutes. You're done with the cup, and then it's all over. And your only choice after that is to play in a new cup where everything is refreshed and you have to start from scratch. Of course, you're going to need to play Challenge Mode to unlock all the characters and the stadiums, which can then be used in other modes. The gameplay experience is pretty much a reflection of the game itself, which is that it's, very Nintendo-like, very fast-paced, but a little bit lacking in depth. So, for instance, you can throw a fastball, you can throw a changeup, and there's various star power-ups that you can acquire too that mix up the play experience. But on the other hand, you're not going to be throwing sinkers, and you're not going to be throwing various degrees of fastballs. You're not going to have all those options that are in, say, EA's games. If you can live with that, you'll be fine here. If not, you're probably going to want another baseball game. So, you can charge up your pitches, you can charge up your hits, or you can use these surreal, really cinematic star powers, which let you throw, say, a fireball from Mario or an egg from Yoshi, and also let you star hit home runs out of the park if you can pull them off correctly. Now, these are both good and bad because, on the one hand, they're very cinematic and they're cool to watch because they bring out the attributes of your favorite characters. But on the other hand, they're a little cheesy, they're hard to hit, and it's almost a guarantee that you're going to get a strike or you're going to get a hit with one of these. So I think the pitch-hit system in the game is really well done. It's very satisfying to hit a ball, and it feels great to throw. And it all comes together, and it's very fast-paced and quick. On the other hand, I'm not too keen on the fielding, simply because from the angle you have, it's very hard to see where the ball is going, so it's hard to position your outfielders there to catch the ball. Oppositely, if you're running the bases and somebody hits a pop, it can be very hard to tell where the ball's going to land, and therefore it's a gamble to either send your guys running ahead or to pull them back to base to anticipate an out. As a result, there's a lot of double and even triple plays in the game, which is just not fair. Obviously, you're going to want to know what type of characters in the game. Let me just tell you there are more than 30 mascots and foes. from Wario to Mario, Luigi, Waluigi, Yoshi, Peach, Donkey Kong, you know, you name it, they've got it. Diddy Kong, Birdo, Bowser. On top of that, you got 4 or 5 Mushroom Kingdom style stadiums, from, you know, Yoshi Stadium to Peach's Stadium to Bowser's Castle, which is unlocked after you beat the first cup. And mixed in with these stadiums are a bunch of mini games, about 5 to be exact. And you can compete in these. If you win, you'll actually gain coins, and those can be used to buy upgrades for your characters, which can then be used in new matches. And if you really want to mix things up, you can play in the Toy Field, which is this completely surreal, off-the-wall baseball experience where you're hitting the ball out there to gain points. And it doesn't follow any of the baseball rules, really. You're rotated between characters, you snap the ball out there, and the idea is basically just to amount points. While the character selection is actually pretty good, the stadium selection leaves a little bit to be desired. Because with only 4 stadiums unlocked to begin with, and then an additional coming a little later, you're going to go through the rotation pretty quickly, and it's going to be repetitive, let me tell you. I think Namco did a pretty good job graphically, for the most part. Stadiums are bright and colorful, the characters look like their counterparts in other games, and everything moves at a really fast pace. It runs at 60 frames per second for the most time, and also runs at a brisk scan. Now, since you're watching the video review, let's just take a minute and listen to the voice announcer here. We're going to pitch a strike. Listen to him call this. Now imagine you have to hear that for inning after inning after inning after inning. And I can tell you that it gets a little annoying. Some of the voice choices are questionable, to say the least. So, who should buy Mario Superstar Baseball? Well, I think anybody who loves Nintendo and is looking for an arcade baseball experience will probably like this game a lot. And it's these people who are going to get the most out of it. You've got more than 30 characters to play with, you've got 5+ stadiums, and the game really oozes Nintendo style. So you're going to hear character calls, you're going to see some funny animations, and there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in between. On the other hand, if you're coming from, say, an EA game, where it's very stats heavy, it's got franchise mode, it's got, you know, just tons of players and stadiums, I think you might be disappointed with Mario Superstar Baseball selection. It is not as deep on every level. If you can live with that, I'd say pick it up. It's definitely a good game, not great. Could use some improvements, but overall we liked it, and that's why we gave it a 7.9.